Hi there, I've just spent the last several hours auditioning headphones, and I was comparing the Sennheiser HD600 headphones to my trusty Denon D7000s, which you've seen another video on. And I'll talk about the differences between the two. Now you might say it's not really a fair comparison because when the Denons were new, they were a lot more expensive than the Sennheiser HD600s, which is true. So you got to take this video with that consideration in mind. Also note that the D7000s, the Denon D7000s, are now discontinued. You might still be able to find them, but Denon has replaced these with the D7100s, which I don't have any experience with, but from what I read on the forums, the D7100s aren't nearly as good as the D7000s. So just some considerations, but I did want to do this video because these were sort of two headphones that I wanted to compare for a long time. They have been broken in for many hours, and I gotta say, in terms of the sound signature, they both sound great, and the HD600s by Sennheiser are a pretty good deal. You can get them for about, I would say, anywhere between $300 and $400 if you shop around. They're great headphones for the price, especially if you have a headphone amp, because they are 300 ohms. They do take some power to drive well, and you'll find that you have to turn your amp up higher in terms of the volume to drive the Sennheisers versus the Denons. The Denons, I believe, are 25 ohms, so the Denons can be run on pretty much any source. Of course, they still benefit from having an amp as well. Now, something on the Sennheiser HD600s that I found is the mids and the highs tend to be a bit clearer. Also, of course, the soundstage is a little bit larger too, because these are open-air headphones, whereas the Denons are closed. However, for being closed headphones, the Denon D7000s have quite a big soundstage. Many closed headphones have a much smaller soundstage, so the Denons are quite good in that respect. In terms of the bass, the Denons certainly have more bass than the Sennheisers. Even though the Sennheisers sounded a little bit more crisp in the mids and the highs, they lacked the bass that the Denons have. So again, these are different headphones. These are closed, the Sennheisers are open. However, on the Sennheiser HD600s, I could hear a little bit more definition and detail in the mids and highs, especially, for instance, on acoustic guitar. Instead of just hearing the note, you could actually hear the fingers moving over the strings and stuff like that. So the Sennheiser HD600s are very, very accurate headphones, and for the price, I really don't think that they can be beat, especially if you're looking for an open-air, open-back headphone. However, contrast that with the Denon D7000s, they're still very the Denons are still quite detailed and sound really good. However, they have a bit better bass response. Also, you should know which amp and DAC I'm using for this comparison. I'm using the Grace M902. It's a DAC connected via optical to my Mac Pro. So you might ask yourself why I decided to look at the Sennheiser HD600s versus the Sennheiser HD650s, which are a newer model. Well, the HD650s apparently color your music a little bit more and have a different sound, whereas the HD600s are a lot more neutral and more smooth and natural as well. So a lot of people really swear by the HD600s in terms of their open-air headphones. Another thing is when I first put these on, I noticed the soundstage was certainly wider than the Denons, but only by a slight margin. The Denons have a very wide soundstage for being closed. But these did sound more speaker-like because of the wider soundstage, so that's one definite difference that I noticed. In terms of build quality, I would say they're about equal. These, have more of a plastic feel, the Sennheisers, although they feel very sturdy and all that kind of stuff, and they're quite comfortable, and I don't have any complaints on the build quality on that. The Denons have the wood ear cups, which are really nice, and more of a leather and metal feel, so I think they're maybe slightly better build quality, but in terms of comfort, I think they're about both the same. They both come with a nice headphone box. I would have to say the two headphones are quite different in terms of the technology, one being closed back, one being open back, but I did want to do this video and just compare the different sound qualities or the sound signatures of each headphone and what I experienced in listening to them both for several hours. When I listened to the same song and switched between the headphones, they were actually pretty close. The main thing I noticed was, again, the Sennheiser HD600s had a bit clearer mids, and I noticed a little bit more nuancing in the strumming of guitars, for instance, or in vocals. Also slightly louder soundstage, but less bass. When I switched to the Denon HD7000s, I could still hear the vocals in the mids quite clear, although the Denons apparently have a slight mid-range roll-off, just very slight. Didn't really bother me though. Yes, the vocals weren't quite as crisp and nuanced, however, the bass was a lot better. So I think both of these headphones are total winners. If you're looking for closed cans, I would definitely consider trying to find some Denon D7000s because I don't think you can go wrong with those. And the fact that they're discontinued now might mean that you might be able to find them for a really good deal. If you're looking for open back headphones and you want a real detailed, nuanced sound with a pretty good soundstage, look no further than the HD600s. I've even read on some of the boards that people have tried the $1,400, $1,500 Sennheiser HD800s and they still prefer the HD600s over those. So, the HD600s I think have more bass than a lot of open air headphones have, so that's a plus. I mean, the bass was definitely there. It's just the sub bass wasn't as present as they are on the Denons. But again, they're both winner headphones. So thanks for watching, and as always, if you have any questions or comments, please feel free to leave them.